Okay, now we are coming back to New South Wales. Always great to have a local project, and I am delighted to introduce the amazing Kylie Prendergast, the Executive Technical Director at Helix Resources, to tell you all about their exciting project in the Cobar Basin.
Okay, good morning everyone. It is lovely to be able to talk about a New South Wales project in New South Wales. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and their connection to the land on which we undertake our mineral exploration. Helix Resources has been around a very long time. However, we are a relatively new group. The current board's been together, well, the longest serving member on that list there is Mike Rosenstrike, who's been there now for 3 years. Also here today is Gordon Barnes, our exploration manager. You can meet him at our booth. Helix has 2,300 million shares on issue, and our market cap's sitting at around $9 million at the moment. Now, after a lot of market speculation, it's really pleasing to see that copper is finally making a move. Helix is completely leveraged to copper and gold here in New South Wales, which you would have to say is a Tier 1 mining district. We are located about 500 kilometres to the west of Sydney in the Cobar district. We have a large land package of about 3,000 kilometres, and we are surrounded by 6 hungry mills. The land in this area is now very tightly held. To the north of us is Tritton on our eastern side, and our western tenement is about 50 kilometres from the Cobar township. Just to give you an indication of the size of the prize here, that CSA mine was acquired by Metals Acquisition Limited about a year and a bit ago for around $1 billion US. And this is a mine that has about 100 years of mining history. So Cobar has really illustrious evidence of metal production and certainly metal endowment. We talk a lot about our copper trends, and that's because these are the really big structures that host the copper and the gold mineralisation. This picture here shows that big main Cobar trend and all the deposits along that structure, which has seen hundreds of years of exploration and discovery. And now we're stepping a little bit to the east, 50 kilometres away. Our Rochford trend, on our ground, it's 30 kilometres long, and we have copper anomalies along the whole trend. And we've recently delineated a new resource at Cambalago. So we think there's a lot more to be found there. We're heading into 2024 with really significant momentum. We've done the hard yards in terms of pulling our land packages together, getting really good solid data coverage. And now we're sitting with a pipeline of well over 100 copper and gold targets, and these are high-grade targets. We have probably 20 priority targets, and we've got a couple of recent discoveries, and we're sitting at the moment with 1 copper resource on the books. So this year it's really about focusing on trying to make new discoveries, and we think we've got this beautiful pipeline that we can progress. Just to give you a bit of a feel for what we've achieved recently, so the picture on the left shows sort of pre-2021, which was before the current team was involved. And this was the view of it. So if you look at the eastern tenement, it was just a blank canvas. Like, we did not have a lot of information about this area. And then if you pop over onto the right, this is 2024, and now we're sitting there with this beautiful picture. It's really a quantum leap in terms of our understanding of the geology and the copper gold potential of our land position. We've got, and you can see all the little pipeline. So all those little targets, those 100 targets are sitting there, and they're all lining up on these new structural zones that we have identified. I'm going to zoom in a bit more now. So first I'm going to start on the western tenements. So this shows our key copper trends. So the Rochford trend on the sort of eastern side there, that's our main copper trend where we have spent a lot of our time. We have been able to show that that's a 30-kilometre long zone with copper anomalies the whole way along. So far we've delineated the Cambalago copper resource, which we put out with a 77% increase in contained copper middle of last year. So now we're stepping out from that one Also the Mount Lewis, there's a really intriguing cluster of priority targets on there we hope to get to this year. And then on the west, there's another really big structure there called the Miriula. Now I'm zooming in a bit more to Cambalago to Bijou. So this is a 10-kilometre zone of copper anomalies. You can see the image on the left. You can see the red areas of the copper anomalies. Cambalago is where we have our mineral resource. Now, early this year, we undertook an IP survey. So the main lode mineral resource, this is the one we knew about. So we've done an IP survey. This is a slice at about 170 metres deep, and we have identified 2 new chargeability anomalies. Given the proximity to our main lode, we think that, we've found more of it, basically. And when you look at Cambalago mineralisation, it looks identical to CSA, okay? So you're seeing the same type of mineralogy, the same alteration, and CSA occurs as these stacked en-echelon lenses. So that was what we were trying to test here, and we've demonstrated that we have new anomalies, and we haven't drilled these yet. Given how successful that survey was, we have decided to delay drilling, and we're going to do more geophysics. So now we're treating this as a near-mine targeting exercise, and we're stepping down to the next geochemical anomaly at Caballero. We have hit a bit of copper sulfide here before, but there's also some faults. So now we're going to try and use that IP to see if we can find some of these more mineralised lenses. Now I'm popping all the way to the south of that 10-kilometre zone. This project's called Bijou. This is pretty new to us. We did infill auger late last year, and this thing just popped out. That geochemical anomaly is essentially as big as the Cambalago geochemical anomaly. However, in this anomaly, we only have 12 drill holes. So this work was completed towards the end of last year. It was just a scout drilling exercise. We just tested the peak of the geochemical anomaly. And I think the real win here is demonstrating that we are still getting high-grade copper. And this is 10 kilometres down from Cambalago. This is showing us that we are dealing with a really fertile copper trend. We are planning to do more geophysics here before we bring the drill rig back. Now I'm going to move across to our eastern tenements. These are basically directly south of Eris's copper operations, which have an endowment of 650,000 tonnes of copper. Now, what we've been really focusing on this year is auger drilling, actually from last year. So we've got 2 auger rigs operating through here, diligently drilling away through the paddocks, and I'm going to show you some recent results. So we put this announcement out in February. These are pathfinder anomalies. So if you want to go and look for copper and gold, one of the ways you can do it is to look for the pathfinders that tell you it's there. And 2 of the pathfinders that are very common for these sort of Eris or Triton-style deposits are antimony and arsenic. And we were quite surprised when we turned up basically an 11-kilometre long arsenic-antimony anomaly. The northern end of that anomaly at Aldebaran and Max's Folly, we knew we had gold. So we had gold in historical rock chips, and there was some gold in some drilling. So we were a little bit hopeful that this arsenic anomaly, or this big antimony anomaly, could mean something. And then we have released these results today, and we have demonstrated that that antimony or arsenic anomaly is definitely associated with a gold anomaly as well. This is very early stage auger work. I mean, those samples are 200 metres apart, so we need to do infill work. But essentially, we're looking there at 2 5-kilometre long zones with very strong pathfinder plus gold. And these could be indicating a sort of Triton or a Cobar style deposit. Just stepping a little bit to the north of the Aldebaran area. This project's called Widgelands. Now this is basically the really big structure. So this structure runs all the way up to Eris, and then if you follow it to the south, you end up at our high-grade CZ copper project. So we know the structure's there. What we weren't aware of is that there was more copper up this end of the structure. So our geos have been in the field, they've found historic workings, they've found copper and rock chips, but there's just wheat fields everywhere. So it's really difficult to get a feel for what's going on. So we've just got little islands of outcrop. We know the structure's there. We do have some VTEM anomalies in this area, and the auger samples are at the lab now. So we're waiting for those to come back and we'll get a much clearer picture of the potential. There is an antimony anomaly in this area, so we are quite optimistic. Helix also has airborne VTEM anomalies. We are basically going to wait until we get the auger geochemistry, and then that will help us rank these anomalies, and then we can decide which ones we're going to drill test. So look, I think sort of looking forward over sort of the next few months, we've got a lot of good news potential. That geophysics program that's running over on our western tenements, over the top of those copper anomalies, basically has the potential to directly detect sulphide mineralisation. We won't know if it's copper until we drill it, but obviously if it's sitting underneath one of our soil copper anomalies, we're going to be pretty optimistic. That program will run sort of up through March and April. In addition to that, we have shown that the auger sampling is also very effective, and that program is also ongoing. We will pull all that information together, and we would like to start drilling somewhere in May. So look, I think Helix has got a lot going for it. We do have funding at the moment. We have an exceptional pipeline of high-grade copper and gold targets. We have a very clear focused strategy. Cobar is our only project. We are focused in Cobar, surrounded by plants in an area with a really established mining history. And Helix basically offers real ASX leverage to copper exploration and discovery from a fairly low market cap position. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kylie, for a great presentation on the amazing Helix. Has anybody got any questions for Kylie? No, no, not at all.
Self-explanatory.
That's right, dazzled. Quick question for you, Kylie. The plans you've got for drilling, what kind of drilling are you planning and when?
Yeah, so probably RC drilling, just because it's really quick. And we'll obviously be drill testing those two IP anomalies that we have. And what we're waiting for is to see the rest of those IP results to see how big that program would be, basically.
Yep.
And then we'll move across over onto the eastern side as well with drilling.
Okay. Thank you. Any other
Thank
questions? You. No? I think we're good. Hey, thank you.